So welcome back to this session, which is scientific writing and the regulatory writing. Because you are into CMC writing and you want to become expert in that area, I thought to understand the difference between the scientific writing and the regulatory writing. Because in day-to-day life, there are so many people working in different areas in our pharma, medical device, and other segments. So both technical and scientific writing ensure that we understand our readers, why they are reading and what they hope to gain from reading. Correct? Because see, we are not writing for ourselves. We are writing for others to read and understand what we have written. Unless and until they don't understand what we have written, there is no use. Correct? For us, in many instances, a regulator or the regulatory reviewer is the important for whom we are making our documents user friendly and very in a very good shape and outlining the justification so that he will feel to read your document thoroughly and understand the knowledge about your product, how it was developed, how it was safe, effective, and everything is mentioned in such a way that he will feel like to give the approval. Correct. So main objective is what, to get the marketing approval, to get the approval from the reviewer, and that is why the in principle you have to think about who is reading your document, right? Who is the reader? How they are going to use this document, and what they need, what they want from this document. It's extremely important, right? So scientific writing is considered a big umbrella, and medical regulatory writing is a part of it. Okay. So all the medical regulatory writers are scientific writers, but all the scientific writers are not medical regulatory writers. That you have to understand. Okay. So scientific writing means what? Okay. It means it is about the basic science, drugs, and technological innovation for the common readers. Correct? So scientific writing appears in medical news, articles, marketing materials, academic content like journals and regulatory documents. Correct? So scientific writing in the life sciences industry deals with various issues related with science like innovation and discoveries in pharmaceutical and biotech industry, various novel theories and mechanism, synthesis of various chemicals, etc. So there are different categories in the scientific writing, right? Like you must have seen many abstract, manuscript, scientific manuscript, medical journal, clinical trial publication, press release, posters, and so on. And some standard responses, the letters, sometimes website content, on health and clinical. So these are all called as scientific writing. Okay. So clear scientific writing generally follow a specific format with key section like an introduction to a particular topic. Okay. So you must have seen journal or the article on PubMed or Science Direct. How it goes, like how it starts. It always gives an introduction first, right? On a particular topic, of course, then the hypothesis, then the description of methods, key results, and the discussion that ties that results to our broader knowledge of the topic. So here what I mean to say, you have to think a lot, who is your audience, who is your reader, for whom you are writing the document. So in regulatory department, who is your reader? The reviewer sitting in FDA or any different health authorities, correct? So to whom I'm writing, what I'm writing, a technical dossier. A dossier which comprises of both the information, right? Technical, scientific also. Because if you see module 1 is administrative, module 2 is quality oral summary, module 3, 4, 5. 3 is CMC again, 4, 5 again non-clinical and clinical. So the person who has thorough knowledge about scientific, technical, and overall becomes a very good regulatory affair professional. Okay. So these are the simple rules you have to follow for the concise scientific writing. Take writing seriously, first of all. Identify and stick to your message. Get to the point. Keep your methods and result content. Don't repeat yourself too often. See, while training, we have to repeat, but while writing, you don't repeat. Avoid unnecessary or inefficient lead scene, right? Use first person active voice. Remove unnecessary words. Simplify your language. Seek and embrace feedback. Okay, whatever you are writing, get the feedback. Because see, in our company also, there are one writer, that is author, then reviewer one, reviewer two, reviewer three, then it gets the approval and authorized, right? So if you have electronic document management system also, in that case, it is our duty, the author's duty, to send this document to multiple reviewer. The multiple reviewer, why it is necessary? Because the data presented will be applicable to QA, production, or RA. So different stakeholders. You get it reviewed thoroughly, get the feedback, right? Seek feedback from them, and then only it should go to the final approval. Okay, add their comments. Of course, the comments given should not be superficially, it should have some justification. Suppose if somebody is saying this limit 0.1% of impurity limit is not acceptable, but why not acceptable? What is the justification? What is the scientific reason? That you have to find out. Okay, so that's how these documents or the document writing, the scientific writing will have some weightage. Then its primary audience is other scientists, right? Because of its intended audience, student oriented or general audience details, definition and explanation, which are often necessary in lab manual or the reports, are not terribly useful. Explaining general knowledge concept or how routine procedure were performed actually tends to obstruct clarity, make the writing body and detract from its professional tone. Correct? So writing well is writing to be understood. Make this point very clearly. Writing well is writing to be understood. Okay. So a goal of scientific writing is to communicate scientific information clearly and concisely. So what is scientific writing? We have mentioned earlier. So it must be set within the context of other published work, because science builds on and corrects itself over time. Scientific writing must be situated in and reference the finding of previous work, correct? Because we are not discovering any new thing. We are also observer. We are observing and writing, right? And we are studying what was discovered earlier. We have to study thoroughly. In patent, we call it as prior art. We have to check thoroughly whether the same subject was discovered, same product was discovered earlier, by whom, how it was discovered, what was the hypothesis, you know, how it was discovered, what was the subject. So everything you have to evaluate first before putting your scientific data. This context saw variously as, the motivation for new work being proposed or the paper being written, and as points of departure or congruence to new findings and the interpretation, and as evidence of the author's knowledge and the expertise in that field. So we have discussed about the scientific writing. Now come to the medical regulatory writing. Okay, what is medical regulatory writing? So this deals with developing clinical and scientific documentation in a standard, comprehensive, reliable, skilled, and convincing manner. Okay, it is a much more specific way of scientific writing. It is an art of writing about a particular content more efficiently and clearly that target audience can simply be understood. Straightforward, pretty straightforward written, so that you will understand what is the meaning of medical regulatory writing. So medical regulatory writer needs the potential to catch every minute detail from the topic and should have the capability to understand and work separately. Right? It is an interdisciplinary exercise, and he or she must have a good interpersonal relationship that makes that easier to communicate with their team and clients, right? A medical writer requires a meticulous attitude towards collecting and analyzing available information and develops documents as per the need. It is an important and significantly essential function needed at every stage of developing a therapeutic product. So you must be aware of there are different therapeutics, right? We are developing so many drugs like antihypertensive, CNS, general category, ophthalmic, nasal. So varieties of therapeutic moiety. So accordingly, we have to select the drug and study yourself the scientific, the research being done earlier on that particular molecule, hypothesis, and as I said, so many things, and accordingly you start your writing. Similarly, if you apply the same logic in our CMC writing, okay, in CMC also you have seen right from the component composition, API characterization, physicochemical properties, so all these things you have to study well and collect the data and put it in the CMC format under S1 to S7, correct? Same if you collect the information about the drug product, then write from P1 to P8. So in tomorrow's session, we are discussing S1 to S7 in detail, P1 to P8 in detail. So please park your question about drug substance and drug product, how we are going to write those sections, okay, those CMC section. Tomorrow we will be covering all those aspects about regulatory writing, okay. So the regulatory medical writing engages in developing document related to biologics, drugs, devices in order to get note from the regulatory bodies. And some typical regulatory documents include non-clinical report, standard operating procedure, that is SOP, investigation brochures, right? IB protocols, ethics submission, clinical study report, CSR, regulatory submission, reimbursement submission, so many, so many type of documents, correct? And it becomes a dossier when we compile all types of documents in one dossier. So that is how the regulatory affair professionals are high, in high demand, I want to say. They should learn the technique, how the data is compiled together, how the documents are written, how it is justified, where this information goes, how this information to be collected from different sources. Not only stakeholder, even if you get the document from QA, QC or any department, it is your duty to review, analyze, correct? Whether the method used was official in whether it is compendial or not, that is your duty to cross-check. Of course, our scientists will also cross-check when they develop the method, correct? But it is our duty to verify whether his approach, the regulatory strategy was correct or not. Okay. So in this way, you have to be thorough with the scientific and the medical regulatory writing. Then the medical writer need to be aware of all the regulations of different countries. As I said, you should have the knowledge about country-specific regulation and the product-specific, correct? And also remain updated if there are any changes. Of course, this is a very dynamic field. The regulatory guidances keeps on changing. If you see US FDA, EMA or any other site, lots of documents are uploaded, lots of guidances are available. So you see to that current version is available. You have to keep track on ever-changing legislation and the updated guidances. Okay. So these regulatory documents should transmit the required information accurately, transparently, and clearly to the target audience. Correct? Sometimes what happens, regulatory department has to give the awareness program to their associate in R&D, QA, QC, or any other department, because they are the first people who gets all the information and they know where to get this information, right? Updated documents or any articles or any ICH guidance or any regulatory laws, rules, regulation, directives, which are published on different health authority site. Okay. So they should make conduct an awareness program to their other department, you know. And of course, while conducting, they should aware of their target audience also, which varies according to the type of document. So the core skill set needed for the regulated writing remain fairly constant. That understanding the target audience and regulation requirement, basic understanding of science, statistics, research, usage of grammar and writing editorial skills, interpreting key messages, study design, project management and collaboration skills to work with reviewers, use of software, and having ethical standards. Right, so these are the core skill required for the medical regulated writing professional. And skills you need to be a good regulated writer are what? Knowledge-based skills, soft skills, and technical skills, of course. So what are those? Knowledge-based skills means scientific background. Good scientist can become a good writer, right? This scientific writer. Then he should have regulatory knowledge, statistical knowledge, people skill under the soft skill, people skill, attention to detail, organization skill, time management, flexibility. Technical skill, of course, writing ability, proficiency at MS Word, data presentation, project management. Sometimes you have to know about the how to use the template formatting. Now I have shown you how to make this automatic TOC, table of content. So those all skills are required to become a good regulatory affair professional or the regulatory writer, right? So knowledge-based skills, having a strong scientific background, regulatory knowledge, you know, understand the big picture of drug development, awareness of drug development regulation. And fortunately, you can learn all these when you are on job. And even if you are working in another department, you can meet your friends, colleagues, and ask them how you are developing this method, what are the sources, what are the document you are referring to, what are the website you are referring to, you know. So all these things depends on how you interact with your colleagues, your associate, your seniors, you know. So gaining of knowledge is also important. How you gain, how you build rapport is also equally important. So people management, time management, then understanding of each aspect, you know, the statistical analysis, everything matters a lot at the end of the day, right? Technical skill, as I mentioned, you should have writing ability, because this is not creative writing, right? So good writing ability for a regulatory medical writer means that you can clearly and succinctly communicate the content, provide a consistent and logical structure, and use the correct grammar, right? Then proficient use of Microsoft Word, as I mentioned, regulatory medical writer, you will need to become a savvy Word user. This is particularly important when working at a CRO, that is contract research organization, where you are often using different template styles for different clients. So correct formatting is not only visually important, but it is technically important for a document to be submission ready and published electronically. As I said, sometimes dot comma error or using wrong symbol also will fail in the publishing. Okay, I will give one simple example. When I used to write, 4 multiplied by 6 is equal to 4 6 how much? Tell me, are you attentive?
24.
24, right? So when I have to write in a word 4 multiplied by 6, so I used to use keyboard X multiply symbol. I used to use X for the multiplication symbol, which where I was incorrect. I was using the wrong symbol for the multiplication. Because I was using keyboard, I was using X as a multiplication symbol. But that is the incorrect way. It might fail into publication. Okay, when you publish the document, it will fail. Why? Because I have not used the toolbar where the symbols are already used, right? When you open the MS Word document, you can use menu bar, toolbar, right? Wherein symbols, you can insert the symbol of multiplication. Okay. So that is one example I wanted to quote here, how you become a proficient user of Microsoft Word. So try to learn how to use your menu bar, toolbar, each and every tab. Okay. Similarly, I have shown you the TOC also, how you can get use of it. You know, the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So these are all international standards which are very important when you become a writer. Okay?
Ma'am, which is the grammar software which you recommend for all such type of things?
Some Grammarly or something is used. Otherwise, I use the dictionary, simple dictionary for the
Okay.
grammatic. Some words are not there, then you can use from pharmacopoeia, say for example, exact spelling and add to the dictionary. Okay?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. So project management. Good project management skills are essential to being able to plan and organize the many steps needed to produce the finished product, right? As well as the manage the budget. Then, as I said, soft skill are extremely important. If even though if you are a best scientist, best writer, everything is best, best, best. But if you are unable to manage people around you, if you are impatient, how it is going to helpful for your career? Just think about it. No way. So people management skill are extremely important nowadays. The attitude, the behavioral issues, what industry is facing, which generates lots of human error. So how to avoid human error? Okay, that is only because of ego, the attitude and the behavioral issues. So people skill and the patience is very important despite the visual image that you may have of a writer sitting at a computer all day. A good chunk of time is spent interacting with our team or colleagues and our clients, right? So people skills and patience are essential as medical writers are often in the role of leader, advisor, negotiator, and the mediator. Attention to detail. When producing a high quality regulated document, not only does the content need to be exacting, but the little details need to be correct. So as a medical writers, it is our job to make sure that the text is written consistently, styles are adhered to, and the formatting is correct. So attention to detail is must. Okay. So these are two things extremely important. Okay, extremely important, I say. Then comes to organize, prioritize, and multitask. So nowadays, multitasking is also equally important. Because of COVID, most of the people are working from home. They are taking care of their family, home, and office work. So, of course, we are multitasking, right? At the same time, you have to organize our work. We have to prioritize. What to prioritize, how to prioritize, it depends on your skills, your time management. Okay. So as medical writers, we not only write, but we also organize all the necessary tasks involved in generating a finished product. Right? Example, you have to go for QC check, call it right? QC check, review, publishing, as well as communicate with other client often on daily basis. Keep in mind that we may be doing this for multiple projects at the same time. Therefore, being able to manage your time, prioritize your workload, okay, daily and sometimes hourly basis. Because see, we find ourselves overloaded. Why we find ourselves overloaded? Because we are not managing our time. We are not able to prioritize the work. And that's how you should learn over the period of time how to handle multitasking activities. Okay. So this multitask is must in order to be successful medical writer and be flexible. Of course, regardless of where you work or you must above all be flexible. Correct? So adaptability, flexibility is very important. The listening skill is extremely important. So these are the references from where I bought the content for you. Thank you very much. And now time for the question answer. Today's session is over. Tomorrow I'll be dealing most probably with all the CMC content. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.